Greetings! This is a quick pointless video on customers placing orders in your app. First, I'll go through an order and then show you the options you have when setting up these different types of orders, payments, etc. So we will log in as a customer. Got stuff saved here for us, easy. Then we will add an item on the transaction. Then we will go to close this transaction. And here we have different types of orders that they can do. And there's instructions below. So depending on how your setup is, and we'll do that in a moment, you can have a more simplified or whatever your structure requires. So some types of transactions require delivery, schedule information, and then they all get a notes field. Some would just have an option for notes, and they would come pick up the transaction. The address information comes from the customer information, so that the stuff here is part of the Joe Smith's personal information, and it can be changed according to this particular transaction. So once the person places an order for whichever type of transaction they want, they can then close it out and get a receipt. So I'll be there in 3 hours. If they want, they can make a note like that. The note will be saved with the transaction, so the person fulfilling the order knows what's going on. And then we can just apply this. The person can print out a receipt. So in a browser, this would go to their as a PDF receipt. And then I just clicked on that a few times, and then they can just go ahead and go back to shopping. Now we look at the app side. This allows us to fulfill these orders, print labels, tickets, and then when the person comes in, we can process with an actual payment. So we do void out those will calls or payments that are not an actual payment, just a label that indicates that the person confirmed the transaction. So we go to the point of sale side here, where we can see orders. We're going to look at suspended closed orders, and then we can look at the types of orders that we want to fulfill. So I can select express pickup, and here's that order that we just placed. So if I want to look at this, I can go in here, and if I need to print labels for this, I can go ahead and print labels. If I need to adjust this item, perhaps add a barcode for it, a serial code for it, or change anything about this transaction, I can do it here. And then we can notify the customer of any change. Once I'm done, I can then remove the suspension, or when the person comes in, we can look this order up under the suspended orders, remove it, and then we would need to void out the payment. We can then void out this payment using a void reason of online order, and then we can go ahead and recomplete the payment with whatever payment method that would be applicable for this order, like a regular transaction. Okay, so now we're going to head over to how we did some of these settings that we saw earlier. So we have payment methods, and not all payment methods were available, as you saw earlier. Payment methods that you want to be enabled for users would be set here, and any instructions for those users would be applied here. So they would see any online instructions that your regular staff would need to see when choosing payment methods. Then we have transaction types. And the transaction types, we also didn't see all of these types of transactions. So the ones that you would see, you have descriptions here, and essentially these first four are what you would need. And then if you need to do scheduling or delivery, you would check off these two options here. And then if you need to do a set of instructions for this type of transactions, express order, those others, as you saw earlier in the video, you would scroll down and you'd apply those instructions down below. And then any receipt instructions also would be here. For example, refund policy, gratitude expression, etc. This covers most of the settings. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 866-973-8099 or email support@pointlesspos.com. Thank you.